So week 3 of the fantasy basketball season's here, but here's a few forwards I would get off my roster this week. Heading into week 3, the first guy's TJ Warren of the Indiana Pacers. Warren, he was a player I was worried about after that plantar fasciitis popped up early on in the preseason, and now he's out with a stress fracture, and he's out indefinitely. Obviously, no timetable. He's a big part of this Pacer team. We saw him have a breakout season last year in the regular season, and then he excelled even more in the bubble. But so far this season, he just couldn't get much going. He had a couple games here and there, 23 points or 17-point games back-to-back, and then before the new year, he went down and he's finished his Warren. So if your league doesn't have an injured spot, Warren, he's not worth the hold. He's going to be out, I guess, probably 3 to 4 months or even the whole season with a bad foot injury, because obviously in the NBA, you need your feet, you need your ankles for cutting, running, jumping. So this is a bad injury here for Warren. I was high on him coming into the season, but right now I would drop him in fantasy leagues. Like I said, if you have no injured spots or you have a limited amount and you have other guys that you could put on it who are coming back before him. So it's unfortunate, but TJ Warren, he would be a guy I would drop in those situations. The second forward I would drop is Will Barton of the Denver Nuggets. Barton, he just has struggled this season, is Barton, and he had a good few years in a row, but so far he's not getting the job done for the Nuggets or fantasy owners. He started off decent, but the last 3 games now have been a train wreck. Last week in week 2, December 29th versus Sacramento, 3 for 8 from the field, only 37%, 1 3, 7 points, 4 boards, and an assist. Then versus Phoenix on New Year's, 1 for 7 from the field, 14%, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. And then last night versus Minnesota, another bad game, 3 for 11 from the field, which is 27%, 2 threes, 8 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, and 2 blocks. So Will Barton, he's not getting the job done. His shooting percentage is awful right now, and he's not even scoring double digits, obviously. He's adding a little to rebounds and assists, but with Michael Porter Jr. out of the lineup a couple more games, and before this, you thought Barton would have bigger games and play better, but that just hasn't been the case here for Will Barton and the Denver Nuggets. So Barton, I would drop him. His ownerage just went down 2%. Now he's still owned in 46% of leagues, but when Porter comes back, his minutes are probably going to go down as well. And Barton, I think you could cut him loose and not have to worry about it. And the last guy would cut this week's PJ Tucker of the Houston Rockets. I know Tucker plays big minutes. I know he starts for this Rocket team, but he doesn't do enough to garner a roster spot in fantasy lineups, in my opinion, with better forwards on the Warriors. So far in 4 games, I'll go through it. This first game of the year, 43 minutes, 3 for 10 from the field. He did add a 3, 7 points, 11 boards, an assist, a steal, a block. Then versus Denver, December 28, 27 minutes, 3 for 4 from the field, 3 threes, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Then versus Sacramento, he didn't even attempt a field goal on December 31st. So he had 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. And then versus the Kings a couple nights ago, again in the rematch, 2 for 3 from the field, a 3, 5 points, 4 boards, and assists. Tucker, he's not getting many field goal attempts. He's only getting 3 or 4 a game he's attempting. He's adding some little stats, 4 rebounds and assists, but the poor scoring and the lack of scoring type of categories like field goal percentage, free throw percentage, threes made, and scoring, that's 4 categories you're losing right there that Tucker's not really providing, because he's not scoring the basketball. And his rebounds, they're decent. He's getting about 5 or 6 a game. And the steals, that's his specialty, in the steals and rebounding decently. But he's got a lot of deficiencies for fantasy basketball, and he's definitely not worth a roster spot, I believe, here. So that's a few forwards I would drop heading into week 3.